I want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. I know that my audio is right today because I double-checked it. I triple dog dare you checked it before we tapped into the show today. So thank you, and welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. It is Friday, August 16th, 2024, year of our Lord. And it doesn't matter if we went to the Missy concert last night. Don't matter if we had a lot of business going on. Don't matter if even I wasn't available for after hours last night, but I am going to be available for after hours today. You know why? Because we don't miss. We never miss. Missing is unacceptable. And if you just so happen to have to miss, because we know that life sometimes, then you got to make sure that you make that up. You got to make that up. So, we are on a hot streak. And I mean a hot streak of 2 years or so plus? to where we basically either we make it up, we never miss, or we push it back, but we always figure it out because my dedication is to you. Your dedication is to me. I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. Yo, shout out to all of my people in the building, in the chat. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I seen some people saying, yo, Anton, I'm trying to become more of a morning person. So this helps. What up, Purple Haze, Messy Mathematician, Brock, Brittany, Jennifer. Says, hi, Anton, how are you? Shout out to M5. Shout out to Mrs. K. The God Loves All hats are sold out. Man, shout out to the chasers out here in the building. I am very much excited to be one of the people, or I'm sorry, the only person outside of the entrepreneur themselves that actually invested in this as a part of the early, very, very early, late last year, involved in the Bag Chasers. It was a pitch a business show. And I seen his stuff and he sent it to me in the mail. And I always thought that it was going to be successful, but I just wanted to make sure that I contributed into it. So not only did I contribute into it as far as helping to invest in the business itself, but I also wear the gear. A lot of people see me wearing hats and different shirts and stuff all the times of some of the Bag Chasers. I've worn hoodies from people that sold out in a weekend and did $30,000 in sales. And I haven't even launched my own merch yet. But if you see on the new website that it says they're coming soon, right? So I'm just thankful for you guys. Before I ever even take care of myself sometimes, I make sure I pour into other people. And so I'm very happy to hear that it sold out and that all of the merch and the gear sold out. I do want to preface this by saying that I make $0. So when you see me wearing people's hats, when you see me wear people's clothes, when you see me wear this, when you see me throw on different stuff, when you see me throw on hoodies that people sent me, I have never made one penny. I have never, ever made $1 from any Bag Chaser that has ever sent me content, ever sent me a hat, ever sent me a hoodie, ever sent me a shirt. I just do it off the strength. I just do it off the love. And I make sure that I promote y'all because we are family. And it's not always about money. Yes, we're going to get to the bag. But if I'm in a position to help y'all get some more visibility, then I absolutely make sure that I do so. So shout out to you. Shout out to the sold out hats. We love it. We love it. I appreciate y'all. If y'all are not a part of this family, we are truly a family. If you're not a part of the Patreon, if you're not a part of the family, the link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure you tap in. We got Stock Club next week. We got a video dropping this weekend. And shout out to Bitcoin Brown. Bitcoin Brown is the one that actually did my site. He redid the site. He said, Anton, I know you don't have the time to be doing all of that yourself. And so we got new stuff coming. We got the new merch that's coming. We got a lot of stuff that's happening, a whole new brand, all of that. So shout out to the Chasers. Shout out to Mika. Mika hosted After Hours yesterday. I just popped up at the very end of it. But Mika hosted After Hours, Mika and Quentin. And it was a phenomenal show. I heard y'all had a lot of fun. I haven't had time to review it yet, but I will. But we got After Hours tonight. Friday, we do After Hours, so that should be popping. Stock Club is next week. And we're going to keep y'all busy, running up the bag, taking care of business and informed, and then we're going to make sure that we put the medicine inside of the candy. So again, if y'all not a part of the Patreon, the Bag Chasers link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That link, ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. Let me give y'all a little bit of a story yesterday, right? So I'm walking through the city, and actually, I had to try to get stuff set up to where everything was still dropping because, again, we don't miss. So I was getting stuff set up. So I was working feverishly and taking care of business. And then I jumped in my car and I'm driving down in downtown Detroit, right? And so I'm headed back to my place, right? I went to the Missy concert last night. That was absolutely awesome. My favorite personally was Busta Rhymes because it was just straight up, right in your face, get into it, play some of my favorite hits. I'm somewhat of a hip hop head, right? So that was awesome. But prior to that, I jump in the car and I'm heading to my place, right? And so I see a guy, and he's a tall guy, right? Got on a little bit of a dingy shirt. And there's no point to this story. I just want to kind of bring y'all into the space of what I do on a regular basis. So I'm driving down the street and I see a guy, and he got kind of a dingy shirt. His blue jeans is kind of tattered a little bit. And he's a young guy. He couldn't be any more than 22, 23 years old. Maybe even younger than that. And, he just got a regular hair. His hair is on his head, but it ain't no lineup or nothing like that. And he looked like he was walking weird. He was walking awkward. He looked like his shoes was too little. And so I'm like, man. And so the first thing that came to me, and I know a lot of y'all don't believe in spirituality, but the first thing that came to me was make him an offer. And so I'm talking to guys. So if y'all see me driving by and I'm talking to myself, I'm not really talking to myself. I'm having a conversation with God. All right. That's what's really happening. So I'm like, what kind of offer? He said, take care of him. Do what you know to do. And so for those of y'all that's new here, I pay my tithes, but I pay my tithes to the streets. So I take roughly 10% of what I pay myself and I make sure that I distribute it according to what my heart is really telling me, right? So if I see, I go down a certain path every day and I know that I got to feed certain people because they're going to be waiting for me, right? And if I don't come by, then they're probably not going to eat. Or, I might go and volunteer here and then give somebody, or I'll see somebody in a grocery store, and I don't highlight this and I don't record all of this stuff. And so I'll, see somebody in a grocery store. If I see somebody walking down the street and I say, oh man, let me take you inside of the store, whatever. Whatever my heart is content with is what I do. So my first inclination, I pull up next to him and I wanted to talk to him because I didn't know what that meant yet, right? And sometimes you need a little bit more confirmation. So I pull up next to him, or I pull up around, I do a little roundabout in Campus Martius, and he was sitting right in front of what used to be the old CompuWare building. And I said, hey man, what's going on? And I said, what do you do? That's all I asked him. I said, what do you do? And he was like, oh man, I go out and I preach for the Lord Jesus Christ and all of this stuff or whatever. And he said, yeah, my friend over there, and we about to record. He's going to record me and whatever. So I didn't hear the rest of what he said. I said, oh, okay. He said, who are you? I said, oh, okay. I'm just a regular guy. I seen you walking down the street and, God told me to check on you. And he said, oh, okay. And I said, meet me in front of the Nike store. It's a Nike store right up the street. And so he was like, okay. He just said, okay. I said, meet me in front of the Nike store. So I drive around. I got to go park my car. I see him waiting in front of the Nike store. And so he thinks, apparently, and this is what I found out later, he thinks that I'm about to walk up to him so that I can have him preach to me. And so I walk up to him and I say, hey man, we about to go in the Nike store. We about to get fresh. And he's like, what? I said, we about to go in the Nike store and we about to get fresh. I'm about to hook you up. You know what I'm saying? It's a Nike store right on what we're right in front of the new Hudson's building. And so he was like, nah, I can't do that. And I'm like, why? I'm like, what's going on? What's the problem? He's like, I know you think that I need it and all of that. And yeah, I'm looking a little tattered or whatever, but that's not what it's for. I don't care about that. I don't care about money. I don't care about money. And I'm like, it's not about money. I said that, God gives you what you need. I said, I'm a believer too, because he told me he was a Christian or whatever. I said, God gives you what you need along the way. And so you got to be careful about rejecting your blessings because you don't know who is what, and you don't know who God gave you in order to give you the whatever it is that you need. And so he was so busy trying to convince me that I didn't have to spend my money on him, which he don't realize. And I'm not saying this to stunt. I'm saying this to emphasize a point that money is allocated and dedicated for people. That is how I pay my tithes. That is how I pay my offering to the streets, to the people, to really look for and pay attention and let that word and let that voice hit me. And so he didn't realize that money was supposed to be allocated and dedicated to him. Because not only was I going to hook him up with, the shoes and all of that, and several pair of shoes and hookups and whatever it is that he wanted, anything that he wanted, he could have got, right? But I was also going to, give him some money or whatever and send him on his way. And it's not up to me. A lot of people look at people and they say, well, I don't want to give people on the street money because I don't know what they're going to do for it. Listen, that's not up to me. Once it leaves my hands and it goes to the people, that is their responsibility, and that's between them and God. That has got nothing to do with me. I don't go back and check. I don't make sure that they spent it the right way. I don't see if they spent it on drugs. That is not my business. Once I let it go out of my hands and it comes from my heart, that is between them and God. And so he sat there for 5 minutes Now, I don't have a lot of time because I got deadlines to meet. I got to get back to the place or whatever. He sat there for 5 minutes trying to convince me how I need my money more than anything, and he's okay with just being poor. He sat there for 5 minutes doing it. And eventually I relented and I was like, okay, you know what? God bless you. Be on your way. You know what I'm saying? I hope that everything works out. He walks away. He's walking down the street and I can see that his feet is hurting. He's walking pigeon-toed because he's tall as hell. Dude is like 6'5", got big ass feet, and he's got on 2 little shoes and his shoes is tattered. And he's trying to convince me that he needs to be operating in poverty in order to show the Lord that he's dedicated to it. Why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this? Because I had a problem with being blessed myself. Some of y'all even seen on this show that when y'all was hooking me up and y'all was taking care of me and y'all was always on top of me and making sure that y'all poured into me sometimes, and I cut the whole stream off because I said, I can't accept this. Y'all got on me the next day and said, Anton, you got to learn how to accept your blessings. And I say this to you guys too, that you have to learn how to accept your blessings. Sometimes God plays certain things, certain people. It don't always come monetarily. Sometimes it comes with a word. Sometimes it comes with a piece of advice. Sometimes it comes with inspiration. Sometimes it comes with knowledge. Sometimes it comes with actual physical help, and people will, it will send people in your life. And that also means that you have to pay it forward and put good energy and good time, and maybe you can go and help somebody. You got to put that same thing into the air too. But what I'm telling you is that, he don't understand that, hypothetically speaking, people would probably be more receptive to what it is that he had to say if he didn't look homeless. Maybe he can reach more people. I don't know. We can do a whole bunch of hypotheticals. But I look back and I seen him walking down the street, and he turned around and he looked back at me and he kind of looked sheepish, like he really wanted it, but there's nothing I could do about that. So it was a weird situation, because usually when I go up to people and I don't tell them who I am, I don't say that I'm an Anton from Anton Daniels. Like, they don't know me. You know what I'm saying? They don't know me from another person that's walking down the street. I have on an Apple Watch. I don't have on no Rolex and all of that stuff. I do that when I go out and stuff like that. But, most people are willing to accept it, and I just didn't know. I didn't know what the lesson was in that. I don't know if it was a lesson for me. I don't know if it was a lesson for him. I don't know if I was just 100% obedient, if I played it the right way, but I did. I didn't know if I should have stuck around for another 2 minutes and maybe he would have relented. Maybe, because I got to respect people's spaces. And if you tell me no 8 times, then I'm going to say, okay, all right, you're right. Right after that, I went to the Gucci store and I bought me a new book bag. Right after that, I went to the Gucci. I walked right, because my car was parked right in front of the Gucci store. I bought me the new book bag with the orange slats on it. I think I spent like $2,600 or $3,600. I don't even know what the price was. That didn't mean nothing to me. So right after that, I went and treated myself because I felt good about what I did, and I felt comfortable about spending money now that I had allocated and I had dedicated things to people. And of course, we're going to still get the money away and stuff like that. But my point is that, you have to take your blessings. You got to get your blessings, and you don't know what it is and who is going to do things for you and who's going to play a role in your life. And maybe that was a life lesson for him. But right after that, we had a good time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to slow my fun times down because everybody else want to act like they crying a pole mouth. Oh, you just missed out on your blessing. God bless you. I hope you don't bust out the front of your shoes. Good luck. That's called being young. That's called being young, dumb, and full of what? Okay, we're going to get there. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to get it popping. Albino says, good morning. Trump scheduled for sentencing September 18th. Rikers Island preparing to receive him. Many sources are reporting he's very likely to go to jail for at least a year. September 18th, make your voices heard. I don't know. I ain't heard nothing about that, but thank you for the insight. Big Rocks, Lil Rock says, are you not concerned of a civil war possibly occurring soon, especially since you have family Tensions are high. I mean, look at what happened. 9/18. No, I'm not concerned about civil war. I'm sorry. Nope, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't know what y'all thinking, but Brock says, pass love, offering, dropping love early, not late. Shout out to you, Brock. I appreciate you. Sisters in the building. Good morning, AB. I received the credit yesterday. Thank you and your team for handling it so promptly. You're amazing. Shout out to my girl sister. You know I got to take care of my people. Check my rich friends is tapping in. My rich friends tapping in. Chase Barnes says, happy Friday. ADM peeps ready to get to the brass tacks of things. Also, I would like to make a small correction to better pronounce my name. Chaz? Okay, so it's Chaz, which rhyme with Chase. Which rhyme with Chaz? Chaz Barnes. The E is silent. All right, want to clear up the confusion. All right, Chaz Barnes is in the building. Shout out to Chaz. I appreciate you for holding me down, and we're going to make sure that we remember that. Fade TV in the building says, in a recent CBS interview, Biden said Kamala will continue the agenda of the Biden administration and won't deviate from the roadmap. Send that to me. 50 million migrants by 2028. We ain't seen real inflation yet. Send that to me. Send that to me, Fade TV. I got to see that. I haven't seen that. Paul Johnson in the building says, Anton, what it do? I rarely catch these lives. 23, working 2 jobs, corporate and a side hustle, but I'm clear. 100K, God is good. Shout out to God is good. Shout out to God. Hey, now you want to make sure that you don't increase your lifestyle to reflect that. Shout out to some more of my rich friends in the building. Mr. Locke says, I was always told humbling yourself before God also means humbling yourself before his blessings. That's true. P.S. Thanks for your coaching. I'm moving right across from that Nike. Are you really? Hey, shout out to my dog, Mr. Lott. Hey, I didn't know if you was really going to pull the trigger, but you ain't got nothing out there in the suburbs with all of them old people and you down there young, getting money and running it up. Shout out to Jamal Fowler. I appreciate you. Amani be wondering says, thank you for always being here every morning. I'm going to be here. I ain't got no choice but to make sure that my people is holding on. Perfect score on my black belt presentation. Shout out to all of the bag chasers. I also want to acknowledge a couple of the cash apps just to make sure that we all good, and then we're going to go ahead and cook up on the show. All right? Shout out to ESDC. I appreciate you, ESDC, for holding me down. Mike That Dude is in the building. Shout out to Mike That Dude. Caesar Cannon says, appreciate you for trying to make America better. Absolutely, my dog Caesar. And Christopher Donaldson in the building. Thank you, OG respect. Shout out to you, Christian Donaldson or Christopher Donaldson. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you to everybody that contributes into the platform. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Now that everybody is gathered, we are now gathered here. All right, y'all, let's get to it. You know what's up. Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we have to dedicate an entire segment to each individual subject, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop of what's happening in these streets, man. First things first, we just want to spend a quick 10 minutes on Quick Hits. A Detroit judge was taken off to the bench after a 15-year-old was put in handcuffs. Check it out.
A judge in Detroit is off the bench after standing by his decision to put a 15-year-old girl in handcuffs.
Okay, so check this out. That girl was on a field trip to his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood? One thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
The teen was with a nonprofit summer program. That is Judge Kenneth King. He removed her from his courtroom, then ordered her to put on a jail uniform and handcuffs, and didn't stop there.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids and make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
Again, her crime was falling asleep. The teen's mother says the judge was way out of line. She says she's a struggling single mom and her family is moving from place to place, and she thought the summer program would be a good distraction for her daughter. Instead, her daughter is traumatized.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she could sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was hired to belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
The district's chief judge says Judge King is being removed from his docket so he can undergo sensitivity training. Judge King had said he reached out to the teen's family and offered to mentor the 15-year-old.
Yeah, I think that he was definitely on a power trip. I did some research on this story. I didn't think that it was a story that we needed to have a whole conversation about, but I think that he was on a power trip. And it was a misunderstanding, right? Because of course he didn't know what her background is. And so on top of that, if he sees a teen falling asleep in his courtroom, because I think that we need to take accountability or really look at it from both lenses. And so I'm in a unique position where I can be objective enough to look at it from both sides. On one hand, I'm sure he includes or he deals with knuckleheads every single day that do not take serious what he got going on. And so what he thought that he was probably doing a good thing as far as making sure that he scared her straight and all of that. But it backfired because he didn't realize that this little girl was probably falling asleep and she was on a field trip because she didn't have a bed and a comfortable place to sleep. So, he was wrong as two left shoes, but I'm also taking into consideration that he probably deals with and is trying to reach out to, and this is his way of reaching out to the youth to make sure that they understand, because he probably didn't take it into consideration. So it's a lot of people that's outraged about this. I'm not as outraged about it as other people because I think that she'll be fine. But it is a misunderstanding. He was dead wrong. And it's unfortunate that it had to happen to this person and that she actually fell asleep and she wound up being one of the people that caught the repercussions of this judge's wrath. But on the flip side, he said he is trying to mentor her, and it might turn out to be a phenomenal blessing. So don't always cry tears of pain. Sometimes cry tears of joy, because now she got the visibility in front of a judge that could probably change her life in a positive way. So it was his fault. Hey, listen, DeAndre, get out of your feelings, get out of your emotions, get that one woman up out of you. Stop feeling some type of way. Somebody said, if it was your daughter, you'll snap, period. First of all, let me say something. All of these men that keep saying period in the chat, get that little female up out of you, bro. Men don't say period. All right? Men don't say period. And don't censor them. We like to have a long leash. I like the chat. Chat lives matter. So let people say what they want to say as long as they not get overly disrespectful. Get that little fat, man, y'all about to have me say something. Get that little girl up out of y'all, bro. Stop saying period. And if it was my daughter, I would bring her home and I would help her to understand a lesson and talk to her the same way that I'm talking to you. My daughter don't need sensitivity training. My daughter got thick skin. My daughter is one of the number one ranked Taekwondo people in the country. She don't have to deal with all of this female activity and all of this extra emotion. She get it from her coaches, she get it from her mother, and she get it from me every single day. She not sensitive like y'all. Get out of your feelings and get out of your emotions, big dog. If it was your daughter, you would snap, period. No, I would help her to understand that this is what happens in life. And so we have to make the adjustments. And then I would explain to her the same way that I just explained it to you. Get out of your, if it was your daughter. Anyways, moving on. Please don't let me get started this early in the morning. It's Friday. Mayor Eric Adams is being chased by the feds. Check it out.
A federal corruption investigation.
And it's so funny because I already said that the dude was wrong. What y'all want me to do? Go crazy on him? He was wrong. Okay, now what? What happens now? Black people, so sensitive. Be care of black people whose names start with a D. DeAndre. The same way that I was holding y'all accountable for the women's names that start with a lie and end with an I. They be feminine, bro. They be in their emotions.
Into Mayor Adams' 2021 campaign, now
Period,
closing in
Pooh.
on the mayor himself.
Period, Pooh. If it was your daughter, you be mad. Period, Pooh. Like, man, who is this big, tall, feminine man keep saying period with a T at the end of it? Man, if you don't get yourself up out of here.
Prosecutors in the Southern District of New York serving him with a subpoena to hand over potential evidence in their case.
By requiring the documents, text messages, and other type of communications from the mayor himself, this shows that they are getting closer to building the case around the mayor.
Ken Gray is a retired FBI special agent.
You're trying to show what the mayor received and what the mayor provided in exchange for that.
The political probe partially stems from the opening of a new Turkish consulate in.
I'm trying to focus and y'all keep talking junk. And I'm trying to stay focused. I'm just trying to understand why they kept saying period. Every guy was saying, if it was you, period. You're period. Yo, come on, fellas. Remove that out of your vocabulary. Don't say period to me. Don't ever say period again in your life. Why we do this whole week after hours has been an absolute disaster. This part of the show, hey, listen, we just gonna strike this after hours from the docket for the rest of the week. This whole part of the show has just been a disaster.
In Manhattan, it's been alleged that Adams or those close to him urged FDNY inspectors to greenlight its occupancy, an alleged quid pro quo dating back nearly 3 years.
Whether or not the mayor actually received anything from the Turkish government as far as campaign contributions, which would be foreign contributions, would be illegal.
2 women close to the mayor already had their homes raided by the feds, and Adams has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing.
We don't, do quid pro quo. We follow the law. Whatever the reviewers are looking for, we are fully cooperating with it. And my role is to allow them to do their job without interference.
Thursday night, his campaign attorney said in a statement they've been doing their own investigation and that they've, quote, not identified any evidence of illegal conduct by the mayor.
Well, of course, the mayor's counsel was going to say that they didn't identify any evidence that he did anything illegal. But the feds is coming after him. They say the feds is closing in on him.
Saying, quote, to the contrary, we have identified extensive evidence undermining the reported theories. The mayor now going head-to-head with the FBI and several potential mayors.
You said you want to remove is giving also from the fellow. Yo, it is a lot of. We gonna talk about that. I got an entire segment that's dedicated to black men today. Don't worry, we gonna get there. Ms. Joy, we gonna get there.
Mayoral challengers.
Approval ratings are not great, and they've never been that great. And this certainly isn't going to help with any of that. In fact, things the voters in New York really care about are not going the way Eric Adams needs them to go to win re-election. That's a much bigger threat to his re-election bid.
And again, no charges have been filed in connection to this case. Deputy Mayor Fabian Levy tells me tonight that Adams will continue to cooperate with this investigation, which he hopes will lead to a quick end to the probe. So far, there's no.
So Eric Adams, I had been informing y'all, and a lot of y'all are new to the show, but I had informed y'all a lot of y'all about the fact that Eric Adams had been under investigation. His aides, houses has been raided. They've been quiet for a little while, but it seems like they're starting to close in on it. And so a lot of people are paying attention to that. And then last but not least, Oakland teen is dead after an argument. For those of us that's been born in the hood, this is not news to us. You can sit over here. You don't have to stay over there or nothing like that. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Fox 2. A life gone too soon. Tonight, a mother struggling to move forward after her 17-year-old son was shot and killed in East Oakland.
Being my only son, that was just
she looked just like her son.
That was like my heart, you know. And this is every mother's worst nightmare.
The victim's first day of his senior year in high school would have been today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meeback.
And I'm Christina Rendon. The young victim was killed in Oakland while spending time with a family friend less than 2 weeks ago. New at 10 tonight, KTVU's Amber Lee is live in Oakland after speaking with his mother about the loss. Amber.
Christina, mom has a message that gun violence should never be accepted as being normal. She's urging parents to talk to their children about resolving differences peacefully.
He always found the light in any situation. He was very intelligent.
Tawana Grant is struggling with grief over the loss of her 17-year-old son, Kenny Huff of Berkeley, to gun violence.
Him being my only son, that was like my heart, you know. And this is every mother's worst nightmare.
On August 2nd, just after 6 p.m., police say officers responding to a shot spotter alert found the teen suffering from a gunshot wound on Garfield Avenue in East Oakland. He died at the scene. Mom tells me Kenny had been visiting a family friend there. She says he had gotten in an argument with someone he knew outside the home, and the situation quickly escalated. Police say so far no one's been arrested and that the investigation is ongoing.
Well, how can Oakland investigate or arrest anybody when they already overwhelmed and they don't even have enough staff in the first place? Look, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. That I can tell you, that I guarantee you. All of y'all single mothers that then, got raising your sons, people that can't get out the hood and continue to vote the way that y'all vote, all of this stuff that's happening in these communities, when y'all say it ain't no police presence and y'all was out there protesting to defund the police, it's unfortunate because this mother, she probably put her all into this kid that was 17, 18 years old, 16, 17, 18 years old, going into his senior year. And then now she got to live the rest of her life with this trauma and this misery of a young kid that was just basically out getting into an argument. And next thing you know, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood all over again. Man, don't y'all know that them movies came out in the early 90s and we're seeing the exact same thing? Dog, to think about, it's wild to think about that a movie can come out in like 93, 94. And we could be here 30 years later, and it's the exact same thing that's happening in your hood, except for it's exponentially worse. 30 years ago, those movies came out, and we still fresh, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, all of those movies, South Central, it's the same thing. And y'all been having the same leaders. Different name, same hue, same pitch, same police presence, same everything, and we still doing the same thing, same conversations. In 2054, it's going to be the same thing. Same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let me read some of these super chats and see what's happening in these streets. Jason Harrison says, paid at least $11,000 on my student loan. Shout out to the bag chasers, man. Bag chasers is killing it. Excellent work, Anton. Keep up the good work. God bless. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Reed. I appreciate you. Rochelle says, not a rich friend yet, but will be. I got faith. No, you ain't got faith. You got work, big dog. Faith without works is dead. That's the part that they left out of that scripture. Faith without works is dead. And so all we got to do is do the work, which is then the faith of the mustard seed, which then manifests because you have to be blessed. You have to be blessed. We'll be blessed. We'll bless you for sure. God is good. The best way to bless me is to make sure that you take care of yourself. Sasi says, good morning, AD. What up, though? Shout out to my Detroit brethren. Have you heard of the Defiant lawyer? I wish someone like you would talk to him. I don't know about a Defiant lawyer. I don't know. Send it to me and then I'll check it out. Victor Williams says, period, Pooh. I'm more than a D's in my name, AD. Man, listen. It's a lot of sassiness out here. None of these kids have fathers at home. Yep. I didn't want to father shame them, but you know how that go. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Somebody sent this to me yesterday, and I have not seen it. So I want to make sure that I review this with you guys. Let me put this on 10 minutes. I don't want to spend no more than 10 minutes on this. I got an auction to go to later on today. Somebody sent this to me. They said that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz was interviewing each other, and they did it in Detroit. I said, they did it in Detroit? They did it in Detroit. I said, okay, well, then we're going to have to bring them to the front and see what this is. I have not seen this yet. I pulled this directly from Kamala Harris's YouTube channel. And so, tacos, music, and the future of America. I probably want to skip over the tacos and the music part, but hopefully we can find the future of America somewhere in there. So let's see what happened.
I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down, and I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
I should have put this at the end. I should have, honest to God, put this at the end. And they got the nerve to disrespect the city by coming here and acting like, but this is Motown. Is that why they talking about the music and where they get the tacos part from?
Tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. So they playing the game that they playing the white people don't use no seasoning game, and black people carry hot sauce in their purse game. Okay, all right. So we get it. We feeding into all of the stereotypes today. Oh my God! Do you not put any seasoning in it? Do you put raisins inside of your potato salad? Oh God! Come on, man. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Don't play me like this, man. Listen, J.D. Vance and Trump is on a nationwide tour, taking shots in their ears, sitting in front of the ops in hostile territory on CNN and ABC, doing interviews, taking unscripted from reporters. Look, regardless, we got to agree on something. We got to honestly agree on something. Regardless of whether you like their answers, whether you rock with them, whether you disagree with them, all of my liberals and all of my Democrats in the chat, because you know we don't censor nobody, and so I always want to make sure that, you know, chat lives matters. Anybody is welcome here, even if you disagree. For all of my people that's in here, one thing that we have to agree on, including you, Eric Daniels, I know you in here, we got to agree on this. I don't care what side of the aisle that you on. Trump and J.D. Vance is taking all of the questions. They on all of the networks, and they are operating unscripted, and they willing to go into enemy territory and talk about policy and the things that's actually happening in America. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are taking no questions, and they are basically putting out propaganda and feel-good entertainment and influencer content. Listen. Eric Daniels, we all can agree on this. This side is avoiding the media and only doing scripted content. And that side is completely unscripted and they like whatever. Regardless of whether you like the answers, regardless of whether you agree with them, let's just be for real. They putting themselves in front of the people and they taking the hard questions unscripted. They pulling up at the National Association of Black Journalists. They pulling up at all of the other stuff, regardless of what side of the fence you on. And I'm okay if you are a Kamala Harris supporter and you believe in Tim Walz. But the fact of the matter is they putting out influencer content and the other side is taking hard questions. That's just facts. That's just facts. Eric is not my family. Eric is family though, because he part of the family because he here. All right, but he not necessarily my family. He part of the family though.
Soda, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
Well, trying to expand
we'll
my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, I
I was
called you,
hoping
Tim.
maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
All this extra giggling, this extra stuff. Come on, man. That junk is fake, bro.
Responsible. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege for me also.
I know it's staged and it's paid for, free to be. It's okay, but we still got to review it because I haven't seen it. And I want to see if it's something that they actually talk about that we can leverage as policy to do a compare and contrast against the other candidates. And so I want to get to hopefully the future of America part and skip through the music part.
I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well, we're doing it together, buddy.
It's fun.
We're doing it together. How have these last couple of days been for you?
I can see where the energy comes. America is a hopeful country.
Indeed.
People are excited.
And
They tapping into the same thing that Obama did. America is a hopeful country. People are excited. No, they not. That's not what I see when I see people sending me these videos every day of these women that's crying, talking about I can't pay my bills. I don't see that from people every day when they send me these videos saying, oh man, I got to sell my food truck because Migrants is over here paying for it. Oh man, I'm struck out here. Oh man, my city is in turmoil. Oh man, I just looked at a video and I did a review and quick hits of a woman that said that her son just got killed by gun violence and it ain't no police presence and they don't have nobody knows who the shooter was and nobody know nothing. All they know is that the son is dead. I see carnage, turmoil. The Taliban is parading with American equipment and celebrations. I see Ukraine is in turmoil. The world is in turmoil. The American dollar is in turmoil. Everything is in turmoil. Everything is messed up. Prices is high. War is raging. Cities is on fire. People don't like the police. Immigrants is coming into the country, man. What the
every one of those groups of thousands, sometimes over 10,000 people, you've seen exactly who we are as America.
Yeah.
People from rural areas, urban areas, of every stripe and size and background. This is who we are as America, and we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And in this campaign, the only way we win is to keep the pedal to the metal for these next many, many days that we have. So Tim, what's your relationship to music?
Yeah. For me, the transformational piece of music was Bruce Springsteen's The River, which is a journey. You know all the tracks, and I'm that guy. My first car, it's the summer 1980, been saving up. I buy a 1973 orange Chevy Camaro, got an 8-track player in it.
Oh, wow.
Previous owner left Bob Seger's Night Moves in there. I listened to it, and it's kind of the soundtrack of my life of Detroit's own Bob Seger.
Are we going to talk about anything worth?
What's really great about this is I have the very 8-track to this day.
Here, I mean, Aretha. My mother had every Aretha album, and like our Christmas gift to my mother, her birthday gift was always like, what's the latest Aretha Franklin record?
So it's on.
I can't do it. I don't know if I'm built for this. I just don't. I can't, this is the fakest woman in presidential history. This is the fakest woman I've ever seen in my entire life running as a politician. Oh my God. Come on, y'all. Come on. I know y'all not going for this. Oh, I looked up Aretha Franklin. The latest gift is whatever the Aretha Franklin record was. Next thing you know, they're going to say that we was cleaning up on Sunday morning in Motown. Come on, man. I'm not doing this, bro.
On vinyl in your house as a background.
All of it.
Wow.
All that and Stevie. And then Miles and my personal favorite.
I thought she liked Tupac and Snoop. I can't do this. Let me scrub through, see if we can get something else.
And diagram of things. Prince, he and I love the same because
I feel like a trip.
Tell me about your dad and his influence on you.
Yeah.
He served our country. You have served for our country for so many years.
Yeah. I was 19. My little brother, I think, was 8 or 9 when he passed. He was a chain smoker, just addicted. They got a Korean War era, and that generation of men pretty stoic. After he died, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She became our rock, and now she had to go out and get work because the medical bills broke her, and Social Security and Social Security survivor benefits. We're fine pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had no boots. That's the boots.
And it's survival,
We paid
literally.
it back. It is survival. We all paid it back. So programs that are just fundamental to keeping people from dropping into poverty, but to live with dignity. You keep talking about that.
We got to help people get through a hard time. We can't have a country and policies that let people fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
I love what you have.
So what's the policy? Because what I see is open borders and funding multiple wars. What is the policy? So we just gonna cut from that and then we gonna go straight to the next question. How there is ain't no policy, ain't nothing happening. There's no policy.
Done with your life. You were coaching a high school football team that was winless.
Yes. Great coach to play. We got to go out and find us game of the year in one game. You build culture, excitement of what it can be.
And that are trying to divide our country. It pains me the kind of division and the stoking of divisions that has taken place, right? And when we can remind people and create a space for everyone to come where they see each other and say,
magic.
Hey, we're all in this together.
It almost feels like everybody's coming out of their house after a blizzard and, a Minnesota reference, and you shovel out, and then you start talking to your neighbors. How was it the last couple of days or whatever it might be? They're re-energizing, and they're looking for their neighbors. We keep saying, keep talking about the promise of America, and we say, take care of your neighbor.
In the face of a stranger, when you're looking in the face of a stranger, you should see a neighbor, right?
Yeah. I'm about crying on this when you talk about, look, a girl from Oakland, California, and a guy from out in Nebraska on there. And the number of people I watch just kind of nod and break into a smile. This exploiting the differences, it can't last. I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down because a lot of folks, it's easier to tear things down. It's easier to divide than it is to be. People want to be part of, they can be a part of. And I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
Did you always know you wanted to be an attorney?
My parents met when they were active in the civil rights movement. I grew up around a bunch of people that were,
Can anybody document this? Does anybody have some verification of this? Do we see them with their Black Panther hats on? So your mother is Indian. And I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just asking the questions and I'm trying to figure out where the pictures are. Or where is this verification? And it very well may be true, but I'm just trying to understand. Is this the same old bullshit story? Oh man, my parents was active in the civil rights movement. You mean how people were active when they was protesting Black Lives Matters? They was active and out in the streets. Can anybody verify this? Can anybody verify the Indian mother and the Jamaican father that were active in the civil rights movement? I'm not saying that it's not true. I would just want to be able to verify this because anybody could say anything at this point.
Marching and shouting for justice. And some of the heroes of that movement were the lawyers, Thurgood Marshall, right? They understood how to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country. And they believed in the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it was founded. And that's where they then, in the courts of America, reminded us of the promise, right? And
y'all have seen my mother more on this show than y'all done seen her father and her mother. That's a fact. Y'all have seen my mom come on this show and say, hey, Anton, what's going on? She be calling in, or I'll be calling her, more than you done seen what she done got going on, yo.
The ideals of our country, including equality, freedom, right? That's why I went to law school. But the other reason
that ain't what Judge Joe Brown said.
My best friend, I learned, was being molested by her stepfather. And when I realized what was happening, I told her, you have to come live with us. I called my mom. How not everyone can take their safety for granted, ability to protect people from harm.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided I want to be a prosecutor.
Wow.
And as a prosecutor, I prosecuted homicide cases. I prosecuted a number of different types of cases, but I specialized in child sexual assault cases. And one of the things I did was create a whole unit dedicated to focusing on children who are being abused and to ensure that they have dignity in the process and justice. There's so much work that we still have to do to make sure that children have a voice.
For me, that's kind of with me. Get in as a teacher. It's about the kids and wherever you teach.
Right.
Once I had my own children, it became so clear to me, and I think it was somebody's most special thing in their life.
Absolutely.
Thinking of a parent dressing their little one up and sending them off to school so proud of them. I wanted to come through that door and just lift them up, that sense of service.
And
it's
it's great to be
interesting,
in
two different
Detroit.
parts of the country, two different lived experiences, but all coming to that same goal of everybody getting a fair shot.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, Tim, even though you and I grew up in different parts of the country, you remind me of the people I grew up with.
Jesus Christ. It's gonna be all day. You don't answer yourself. Yeah, that was a bait. I just can't do this. This is so painful. So painful. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're gonna continue on with the show. Y'all want to say hi to Rita? You said hi when I was young. Everybody keep asking if I got a black wife. You don't have? I don't have a black wife. How? What color are you? You from China? Anyways, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kamala Harris and Tim Walz interviewing each other. Let me go ahead and continue to. Let me give you all. Why was you waving to my audience when I was gone? They telling on you right now. Now they all saying, "Hey, Rita." Now they all saying hi to you. She here on a work assignment. Let's be clear. She is here on a work assignment. She is taking care of business. We got to get you a new station set up over there. I got a new standing desk for you. When we getting divorced? That's what they keep saying on the internet. When is Anton going to get divorced? Even if I try to divorce you, you're not going nowhere? Oh, you going? Oh, you going? Oh, stop speaking to her.
Why are you mad? Why are you so mad?
Stop speaking to her. She don't have a microphone. Stop speaking to her. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. I'm going to cover her up. All right, let me read. Why is there so many super chats? What the fuck is going on? I'm not adding you to the show. You off the show. Anthony's Too Real says, Jesus Christ. Checking in from Florida AD, keeping it real no matter the cost. Feels like we living in real life and they clone Tyrone. Shout out to you. Skill Tree Gaming says, do you discuss day trading in Stock Club or is it just longer term swing trades? No, I do not discuss day trading. We do not advocate for day trading in Stock Club. It is for the long-term investment. Sony Man, we do not time the market. Sony Man Marcus says, I'm from the South and that makes Southern accent, and that fake Southern accent is killing me. I think that's what you meant to say. Shout out to you says, when the debates happen, Kamala gonna drop. Sunlight is the best, that's a fact. Best disinfectant. Cognac TV says Kamala so fake, be lying. Talk about it, Cognac TV. Ooh, I like what we got going on right there. B. Tunson says this broad is so fake is diabolical. Facts. Shout out to Quentin says Kamala is so fine. Hold on, let me find another thing for that one. Quentin will be on After Hours tonight. We're going to hold him accountable for that comment, y'all. P. Rolfstein said, I would never vote for either one of these blue clowns. What is actually genius? Running a campaign like Eddie Murphy and Distinguished Gentlemen, we always fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Every time. Been doing it since I've been alive. C. Will in the building says, but Anton, this is what they call main character energy. Yep, I remember Charlemagne said it. Lil Black Duck 2001 says, won't answer a number he doesn't recognize, but open borders are all right. Go figure. Blessing to you and the Chasers. Keep doing what you do. Shout out to the Chasers. Chaz, I got it right. Chaz Barnes says, here's a question for the Democrats. Do you think a pile of poop feels popular because it's surrounded by flies? No. I heard an analogy somebody said, and I said that I was going to use it. Switching out Biden for Kamala Harris is like changing your shirt because you shit your pants. That is the perfect analogy for that. Shout out to Chase Barnes. I appreciate you. Sonyman Marcus says, sorry, I'm a truck driver. I'm using voice to text. Shout out to my truck drivers out there. I have a heavy Southern accent. Apologies for the mistranslation. No, you got it, big dog. Stay with your hands and your eyes on the road. Brian Baker says, if elected, does this destroy the Democratic Party? I think this destroys America. My dog, Mr. Lott, gonna be in the city, says they're wasting city resources. Anike says, what up, Anike? What up, Miss Budgets? Says, I'm only here for Anton reactions and not Rita. She didn't say the not Rita part, but not Rita. I added that part in there. Lamar Graham says this is her one interview that she was going to do. Now she doesn't have to do anything else. It's bad out here, man. Eric M is in the building, says, she sounds drunk. Woman can't handle pressure. I knew a woman that acted like Harris in public, but always cried to me over the phone about what people said and treated her. She was an AKA and I smashed. 48 Laws Equal Artistic War says, so they have avoided the press for a month now and think that this is the substitute for it. They're full of it. They running a campaign, I guess. Spider Clamp says, lack of critical thinking by people who follow a party that puts race sex before anything will eventually lead to the downfall of America. I agree. Deshaun Rose in the building says, good morning and salute to the Bag Chasers. Thanks for the show, AD. Mr. Lott is in the building, says, Walz will We'll call a play called Tampon Migrant 47. I believe it. David Simpson says her mom Indian and the daddy is Indian Irish. Jeremy H says Dems rent that room from a fortune teller. Josh in the building says they're about to put me to sleep with this nonsense. They've said nothing important. Zero. SSG in the building says this is absolutely ridiculous. The intelligence level of the voter base that is okay with this level of, can we even call this pandering? I agree. Cam Up Podcast is in the building, says, I don't know how, but I blame you for this. Me? What did I do? Junie says, Margaret Sanger believe in eugenics. Please talk about this. Kamala is pretending to abort minority babies while raising white kids. D4 TV in the building. What up, D4 says, Anton, I believe they're doing coke in the bathroom. Stay on a big dog. I'm on it. Eric Harris goes on to say, AD is Nigerian and married to a South African white woman. Lee Duran says, Bob Seger, really get him on. Maybe we'll get some. You know, my daughter went trick-or-treating here, and she went to Bob Seger's house. She said he was pretty cool. Chaz Barnes says, Trump and JD are out handling and taking incoming from press like troops did in both Iraq and Afghanistan, while these two chilling in the basement talking to each other. Hello, Mrs. Daniels. Don't speak to her. She ain't got nothing to do with this. Annie Marie says, shout out to... Oh, God. Here we go. Brittany B says, we can speak to Rita if we want. Hi, Rita. Oh, Jesus. I don't like this. Heather M... You got... There's some other chairs over there. You can be off camera. Heather M says, Kamala's father was a known Marxist economist and a professor, and her leadership will lead to Marxism and communism in the United States of America. I'm going to have to do some research on that. Messy Mathematician says, we need more Rita. No. Rita is hands down, ma'am. Big Pressure says, good morning, Rita. Anton ain't going nowhere. I'm about to trade her in. I told her when she got 40, I was going to trade her in for 220s. We 2 years over. 2 years over. Truck You says, I'm sick of cosplay with old girl. And Miss Budget says, I'm 1,000%. Oh my God, 1,000% here for Rita too. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Don't hide. Damian Brown says, should I stay close to my dad with health problems or follow my dream and move across the country? Your opinion, please. We need more context. We need more context. What kind of health problems do he have? What is going on in your crib? Send me an email, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and we're going to get into it. Kay Cooper in the building says, everyone say congrats to my son Tyree. He left for the Air Force boot camp on Tuesday. He does day trading, trying to help him do and think long term. Focus. Tell him to tune into the show every day. And congratulations to your son, and congratulations to you as the mom of the year. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. People always asking me where you at. I told them that you ain't trying to be on camera like that. We don't need you all on the camera like Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Diddy and Mace. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. We are, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but we are the personification of excellence. My life is literally the personification of excellence. People hate that. They hate that. Hey, ask your favorite content creators to show their people on camera. Call their people, show them on camera, show their bank accounts, show they transaction fees, show what it is that they make, show what they do for a living. Ask the people that you love and you follow the most. Ask your favorite celebrities to have their wives. I want to see wives. I want to see daughters. I want to see children. I want to see who they dating. I want to see everything. I want to see everything. I don't want to see nothing else from these people that think that they can give you advice on relationships, politics, money, until people start showing the receipts. I want to see the receipts. I want to see the receipts. Occasionally, I'll bring her in, let her pop out for y'all, just so make sure y'all know she's still out here. I want to see the receipts. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody else until they actually had the receipts. Anton doing this. Anton posted this on his platform. Anton said this. Anton is in his Instagram. Don't worry about what I got going on, big dog. I'm good. We good over here. Operating my masculinity just fine. I ain't got no problems. You the one that got. The only reason you saying that is because your girl be getting on you in the background because she don't like you listening to me because she think that I'm bad for you because you starting to wake up and realize that she ain't with the woman that you really supposed to be with. That's why you feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let me continue on and rocking out. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I know, Hooper. Ain't that crazy? Anyways, what do we got next? Oh, black men. I said that I had a part of the show that was dedicated to y'all. I said that I had a portion of the show that was dedicated. And so when I seen these guys saying period poo with a T on the end of the period, when I seen guys in the chat saying period poo with a T on the end of the period, I knew that we were in the right show today and that this was going to be popping off. The likes is a little bit more anemic than I want it to be because it's over 3,300 people in here off of YouTube alone already. So make sure that y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Hit a like for the algorithm and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's get into black men. So the question then becomes, are black men really supporting Kamala Harris? And if so, what does this mean? Let's continue.
More than 40,000 black men gathered for a video call one day after Vice President Harris announced that she would be running for the Democratic presidential nomination. The call lasted 4 hours and raised more than $1.3 million for Harris's campaign. But maybe more importantly, it allowed the group to discuss what her campaign required of them. Data shows black men have been reliably Democratic voters. But one man on the call felt that it was important to highlight a small group of black men who have historically resisted supporting black women seeking positions of power.
So a simp. We had this conversation the other night, a simp. And I think that I'm going to pose this question on After Hours tonight, and I might even take a few callers to help me to understand whether or not we're using a term correctly. But let's get to this black man.
Attorney General Kwame Raoul was the one to stand up on that call, and he joins us now to talk more about what was discussed that day. Thank you so much for joining us. So this call followed a Black Women for Kamala Harris phone call, which, you know, I was blown away by the numbers, and then black men did even better, I think. But I'm curious about why you felt it was important to have a gathering like this, a space of all black men to discuss with the candidate, you know, what they needed.
Yeah. First of all, let me just say this. I don't trust. What don't I trust, chat? I need y'all to bring the rest of the congregation up to speed of whether or not I inherently, and I'm not saying that these guys are not good guys. Maybe you work at a job. I remember when I first got into the steel mill that they said, Anton, you have to shave off your beard. I was looking like a feline. Rita said, what happened to your beard? I see the cash apps. I'm going to read the cash apps. I remember y'all. I got y'all. She said, what happened to your beard? Hoppo, who this man? Who is this man? I don't think my daughter ever seen me without a beard. I don't think oh yes, when I shaved it down. She was like, Dad! I inherently lose trust for black men that have no facial hair, no mustache, no beard. Where your stash at, man? So this is already strike one, all right? This is already strike one, but it doesn't mean that he's not trustworthy. We got to take into context what he says.
Well, you know, there are all sorts of issues where black men are disproportionately on the bad end of statistics. And I think there's a sense of excitement for Kamala Harris, and that's why quickly black men were able to gather and raise the type of money that you referenced earlier. However, there's been a concerted effort to undermine the support for Kamala Harris amongst black men with misinformation with regards to her role as a prosecutor.
I got exceptions for the military, Demetrius. I know that there are special circumstances. I had to take a respirator test before I started my job at the steel mill when I was working at the steel mill. So I get it. I understand. You got to do what you got to do, big dog.
And her role as a California Attorney General with regards to the incarceration of black males, playing on a sensitivity that I think it's not unique to black culture, but the misogyny of a few who are reluctant to support the leadership of a woman. And I want to reiterate, I don't think it's something that's unique to black culture. I think it's widespread throughout many cultures that some men are reluctant to support a woman, thinking that it weakens their stature as a leader. And I wanted to confront that.
Why does it mean that it weakens our stature as a leader because we don't want somebody standing in front of Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un? And that we also, on top of that, don't want to vote based off of identity politics. It says, let me see what he says. He says, sometimes as black men, we get confused as to what strength is. And sometimes we think that standing behind a black woman as a leader does not display strength as a black man. Let me tell you something, bro. I just want to be very, very clear with this. For everybody that is confused, I believe that the best person for the job is the best person for the job. That's A. However, I believe that there are certain jobs that should be designated for and allocated to men. So let's throw the black part out of it because they always say standing behind a black woman in order to try to disparage black men in general. I believe that the best person for the job is the best person for the job. It doesn't also mean that women can't do some of the same jobs that men do, but inherently, women don't do some of the same jobs as men, even when they are in the same workplace and supposedly have the same position. When you are in a plant, most of the time they designate the hardest job for the man. Trust me, I've been there. When you throwing packages, You see mostly men, you do not see women. It wasn't until we started to evolve the technology to where we had assistance for women. And I remember when I was younger, when we was graduating high school, it was a lot of people that was getting summer jobs and they was working at UPS. And the thing was like you had to pick up so many pounds and all of this other type of stuff. And even when we was in a plant, it was just always like the men did the hardest jobs and they always had the women do the jobs. When you look at these linemen that's up here repairing the poles, I don't see women. When I look at that construction site and I see these people that's building these huge cranes and stuff, I don't see women. And guess what? I'm okay with that. You know why? Because there are certain jobs that are allocated and designated for women. Let me tell you something. I think personally that you get the best out of women when you put them in a position to where they don't even have to do some of the same things as men. When women have to go out and compete for resources and put themselves in the same positions as men, and listen, call me old school, call me traditional, call me anything you want, but don't call me broke and don't call me divorced. When women have to deal with some of the same things as men, they don't even look the same. They don't even think the same. They don't operate the same. They don't have the same mindset. They got to operate like chameleons. It's not natural. I drove by a restaurant the other day, and I got stopped at a stoplight, and it was on the corner of a busy street here in downtown Detroit. And I seen a whole lot of women that was outside, and all of them looked like linebackers. Are we going to get to the listen, we going to get to the brass tacks of things, or are we going to get to it? All of them looked like linebackers. Women ain't even women no more. Women are little men. A lot of these women ain't even women no more. Women are little men. We've conditioned ourselves so much so to where we now think that fat is thick. We call it thick. We don't call it fat. We say that she big boned, and we say she got that badonkadonk. It's not natural for a woman to be 250 pounds. It's not natural. It's just not natural. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am one of those old school men who do not look to my wife to answer questions on my behalf about what it is that we're supposed to be doing when it comes to how it is that we operate inside of our household. It's called head of household. Whenever I've ever dealt with a man or had a conversation with a man and he said, well, let me ask my wife first. He didn't listen. And there's nothing wrong with informing or checking in or saying, hey, what's going on? Hey, do you got anything? Did we have some plans today or something like that? He didn't say, hey, listen, let me see what's going on in the household and then I'm going to get back to you. He said, let me ask my wife. Let me ask if I can go. I automatically just lose respect for that type of guy. Automatically by default. I would never put my chick in certain positions because it's just not something that's going to be kosher for what I think makes the most sense in society. It's just not. And so not only do we look at it from that lens, but I also want to look at it from the lens that they always make it seem like we not men because we don't get behind a strong black woman. No, I am a man because I told my woman to walk on the inside of the street. I am a man because I said, listen, you're not going down that path. That's not for you. And it ain't safe to go down there. And I don't even want you to deal with that type of stress. You go over here and we going to go over here and handle that. That's what a man is. It's not giving in and kowtowing and saying that we're supposed to do something. And I'm completely removing the identity politics from it. It's not that we supposed to kowtow and then make sure that they're included. It's to make sure that they're protected from themselves sometimes. If your chick is the leader of your household and she not even seeking direction from you in order to make sure that she's going down the right path or that she's safe first, that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. I move differently. I got a different mindset. I got a different way that I move. I don't even want my chick out here with a pantsuit on to go to work every day. I don't. I'm different. And it don't mean that I don't respect women, that I don't love them. I absolutely love them. I love you enough to protect you from yourself and these streets out here. Real talk. It's crazy. But let me see what this simp got to say.
Yeah, your quote I thought was really interesting. You said, sometimes as black men, we get confused as to what strength is. And sometimes we think that standing behind a black woman as a leader does not display strength as black men. I thought that was, I guess that's part of the reason why you want a space like that, to say something like that maybe you wouldn't say in mixed company.
My mom can't even do certain things without my permission. My mother-in-law can't even move a certain way without my permission. And they don't want to because they don't even want that type of burden. Why would you?
For lack of a better phrase.
Absolutely. I'm the father of a 24-year-old black woman who's in law school right now, and I want to encourage her to use that training to reach for the highest heights. And how can I do that if I don't fully support somebody with the type of background and experience as Kamala Harris to achieve the presidency and to be able to one day stand up and call a Madam President? And if I don't fully support that, I, as a black dad to a young woman, I'm not doing my job.
So let me
guess what? I'm a black dad to a black young woman also. And my daughter can't do some of the same things that the boys is doing. She not available. Nope. She not lifting no furniture. She not helping nobody move. She can help pack. When we move to different places, her and her mother, they make sure that they put all of the glasses together. They put the little stuff in there. They can help pack. They organize stuff. They go in and they point to the movers where things is going, stuff like that. But they can't go and pick up no boxes. What we talking about, man? Why y'all want y'all daughters to be so masculine? Why y'all want y'all daughters to be little men out here? When I say that men and women and boys and girls are supposed to be raised differently, that you don't supposed to have the same standards for your daughter as you supposed to have for your son. Your son needs to learn how to fail in a controlled environment. Women too, to an extent. But at the same time, they need to understand how they're supposed to be treated. It's a whole nother conversation. We not the same. Stop acting like we the same. We not the same. And I don't understand these black men that's simping for this woman. And I also want to ask y'all this. This is a question, because I also want to include something else into this conversation. If she was a dark-skinned woman that looked like Whoopi Goldberg, would they support her the same? Would they mobilize? It's just a question. Would they mobilize behind her the same? I'm going to ask the uncomfortable questions that nobody else want to ask because don't nobody want to be honest about what's happening out here in these streets.
Let me ask you this, though. You've seen some of the polls, right? There's some Pew Research Center reported in April that there's been a slight uptick in black men who identify as Republicans in 2024 compared to 2020. Much has been made of this very minor shift because I guess we haven't seen something like this. It is minor. But why do you think Donald Trump has appeal to some black men beyond what you suggested, which is perhaps some misogyny?
Well, I think, again, black men through both Democrat and Republican administrations have been on the wrong side of many statistics, whether it's healthcare, incarceration rates, unemployment rates.
Oh, now he's shaming. He's using shaming language. Okay, I got you.
And it's nothing new. And so I think he strategically senses a vulnerability there that he can attack.
No, we can't think for ourselves.
Equate himself to the circumstance of black men who have been mistreated by the justice system. Yet most black men haven't had the privilege of being able to appoint judges that preside over their criminal cases.
Y'all do know, and I just want to say this, enough of this simp language, all right? Y'all do know that we've been basically aligned with the Democratic Party for almost 100 years, and we've gotten worse as a result of it. Umar Johnson said something that was uniquely profound, and he said, black people have been supporting Democrats for nearly 93 years, and it bothered me. Heather just sent you something, Rita. I don't like that. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. Black people have been supporting the Democratic Party for almost 100 years, 93 years plus, and they've got nothing as a result of it. And so then when we start to say, well, you know what? Maybe we need to start thinking for ourselves, and the men of our past absolutely led us down this pathway into destruction. And then they start throwing ad hominem attacks and say all this and that about you. And listen, you've been on the wrong side of this. And that's why your daddy went to jail and all of that. Look, man, look. I'm not into the shaming language. I'm not standing behind a woman. I'm going to have my woman stand behind me for her own protection just in case somebody breaks into the house. And I'm saying that literally and figuratively. Literally and figuratively. I'm tired of the shaming language, and I am on a war path right now. My entire mission is based off of dismantling all of this narrative that has come from our past, especially with regard to these men. I spent some time on the women last year. We're going to spend the majority of our time on the men this year. The D.L. Hugleys, that guy that was the Chicago Attorney General, the Steve Harveys, the Charlemagne's, give me another one. Ricky Smiley, the Stephen A. Smiths, all of these guys that have been pandering to y'all and is trying to advocate for y'all to continue to do the same thing. And they have no real understanding of what men are really going through. And they have never supported men in any way, shape, or form. And the only thing that they continue to care about is whether or not their female-led audience is coming out to their shows and dragging their husbands, they simp husbands out to their shows. And they got bad jokes. And we starting to realize that the only good comedian that was on that stage was Bernie Mac in the first place. I'm tired. We not doing it no more. We going to dismantle this whole thing and it's your turn. I am on a war path right now. I have zero smoke for women. We're going to go ahead and revisit y'all for 2025 because I am an equal accountability smoke giver. I have zero smoke for women right now. I am 100% zeroed in. I'm one of those people that just got tunnel vision. And Van Jones, all of them. Luke, Plies, everybody. We are going, and listen to these people. Luke literally gave y'all some of the worst music and portrayed y'all the worst ever and has never been married to a black woman, but has always profited. And he's sitting here having a conversation with y'all talking about supporting a black woman. Are y'all not listening to y'all leaders? I can't wait. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All of these guys are simps. They are step crash dummies. They have profited off of the disrespect of the women within the culture, and y'all listen to them and y'all take advice from them, and they don't have anything to offer you, and they've never done anything good for you instead of lead you down this path of destruction. So we're going to get to the core of it. We're going to really get to the core of it. I promise you. For the rest of 2024, that's what you got to look forward to. All right. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. I want to read some of the super chats. First of all, let me read Heather real quick. Heather says, look at Heather. Heather going to say, for Rita's Dunkin' Donuts Fund. Hi, Rita. How they know you like Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, my God. Did you say that or something on some platform or something behind me when I left? You said I like Dunkin' or something?
No, I think I've been said it before.
How y'all know that, Rita? Y'all be knowing. Heather? Heather.
He said you are
Look, this is what I got for you. No, they don't need to see what I say. No, not at all. Melinda Caldwell says, hi, Rita. What's her YouTube? Rita is not going to ever be on YouTube. No, never, ever. I will never. I am going to protect her from, as a matter of fact, Rita don't even want to be on there like that. Rita ain't interested in being out here. Rita is not going to be sharing on YouTube. She not about to do what LeBron James' wife is doing. You know what I'm saying? Chris Monroe says, we all know Kamala Harris did not get on any Zoom calls with any of these groups, just organizers. That's a fact, too. The Right Insight is in the building and says, these son husbands shaming black men, what a disgrace. Single baby daddies. Costa says, AD, if you have a moment, please watch the Ferguson police chief go off script. In a press conference yesterday, he spoke the truth. Send it to me. Y'all got to send this to me. Email me at AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. Or just send it to me in the DM on Instagram. Jude says, Anton, case in point, with all due respect to women, did you hear about the female Secret Service? Yes, I got to write that down. I heard that it was a female Secret Service agent, and that is the perfect example. Female Secret Service agent left to go breastfeed. I seen that. I said, no freaking way. They just sent it to me? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was what happened. I got to write that down. I forgot about that. So I forgot about that. Yep, I did see that. And I'm glad that you reminded me. Shout out to you. Let me give you a round of applause for that one, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Clay on the beat says, Anton, what is the end game for the Democratic Party? There's all this for show, and they know they lost. They know they lost. There are two most radical people on the ticket, and did they not expect Trump to survive? Or will we already be in war, which then voting will come to a halt? I don't know what the end game is yet. Honestly, I don't even know why they opened up the borders to the extent that they did, right? Because I think that the Democratic Party would have had a better coup if they had done some of the things and then kept the borders closed and then actually stood on that. But I don't know what the end game is. Clay, thank you for supporting the platform and thank you for holding me down, big dog, my rich man. Look at sister down there. Sister down there showing love. Will Livingston says, homewrecker Kamala has done a great job at locking up black men and illegals. No. Tech coach Ralph in the building says they want their daughters to be men that they could never be. Frida B says, say it, Anton, is because she's cute. Also, this is for Rita. Oh my God. And dark-skinned women like us, they raise their daughters to be men. They do. Them dudes do be raising their daughters. Don't send Rita nothing. Don't worry about her. She good. I told Rita I was cutting her off financially from her shopping for a while last night anyway. Any black man who votes for Kamala Harris should be forced to get gender reassignment of surgery. Josh Gossett says, Trump's appeal is that he represents real masculinity and we are tired of the liberal feminist nonsense. Prince Elian says, and he got the best policies, Democrats are shaming black men, but the party won't even support a fully black candidate. They are shamelessly pushing a non-black woman as black. And I don't even care about the color of her skin. I'm going to come to you back in a minute, sister. Anton, when you going to say something about J.D. Vance dressed like a woman? I don't know what you're talking about. Send it to me. Email me, Anton Daniels, or send it to me in a DM. Make sure y'all following me on X, Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all of that. With Janice says, y'all are such a fly, beautiful couple. We need to see more black love. You see, Rita always got on some sparkly stuff. Always got on some sparkly stuff. Shout out to one of my richest friends in the building. Oh my God. Hi, AD. This is for the Rita sighting. Look at sister sent $300 because she's seen you. Oh my God. She was dancing like crazy at this Missy concert yesterday. Dancing like crazy at this Missy concert yesterday. You had a lot of fun? Thank you, sister. You always hold me down and I always love you. You know you are always going to be an honorary bag chaser forever. Thank you, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do the Right Thing says my brother's, let me make sure that I'm going to come back to sister. My brother's school that he works at had a meeting about voting for Kamala. Crazy how far they pushing the damn envelope near close to communist activity. Why are they talking about this in schools? We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, y'all, let's focus. Dolton, and then next after that, we got migrants controlling Central Park over there in New York. But the Dolton police struggle is real. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's spend 10 minutes on this for real, y'all.
Dolton trustees tell ABC7 they'll move to fire Deputy Chief Louis Lacey at the next village board meeting after they say he violated the terms of his administrative leave. But that's not stopping Lacey and Dolton's mayor from asserting his authority. In this video obtained by ABC7, Lacey and Mayor Tiffany Henyard are heard telling officers who's in charge.
Now, from this point on, do what you want. But anything after this is insubordination.
This the same day the 61-year-old deputy chief appeared in federal court, pleading not guilty to bankruptcy fraud and perjury charges. A judge ordering Lacey to hand over his firearms and FOID card.
He is the acting chief in the village of Dolton. He is a police officer, and he does need his firearm in case something happens on the street and that puts him in danger.
Last week, the Dolton Village Board voted to place Lacey on administrative leave, but that hasn't stopped him from showing up to work. And now trustees say they'll move to fire him at the next board meeting. Last week, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot released findings of an investigation showing the village millions of dollars in the red after having millions in surplus when Henyard took office. Now, Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza is suspending some payments to the village, blaming Henyard's failure to submit 2 years' worth of financial reports. In a statement, Dolton trustees say they'll demand that the village's finance department submit all required paperwork to the state. Mayor Henyard has repeatedly declined ABC7's request for comment.
Watch. Let me pivot for a second, and I want to look at this other video right before. Give me a second.
We are following some breaking news out of suburban Dolton.
And this comes just days after the trustees terminated the deputy police chief. Now the mayor of the village, Tiffany Henyard, has appointed him to a new position. NBC5's Regina Waldrop has reaction on today's announcement.
Good evening. An illegal appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps. Now, it was last Monday that Deputy Dolton Police Chief Louis Lacey was put on administrative leave by the Dolton Village Board. Trustees say he returned to work the next day and was later fired for insubordination. Then today, trustees say they got word that Mayor Tiffany Henyard has now appointed Lacey as police chief without trustees voting on this appointment, and they say Lacey has also not been sworn in to the position. Now, Lacey was in court a short time ago. He was arraigned on federal bankruptcy fraud charges. It's alleged that he lied under oath in a scheme to hide assets and income from creditors to avoid paying more than $40,000 in a lawsuit settlement.
Well, Mr. Lacey is absolutely.
Listen, the first way that you can get yourself in trouble is that if you start to file for bankruptcy, right? And a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people are really, listen, it's different types of bankruptcies. And I'm not sure exactly what they are. I know it's Chapter 7 and it's another one, right? But the first thing about bankruptcy is that if people are filing for bankruptcy, a lot of times you also have to understand that you have to be under a certain threshold in order to completely discharge your debt. And then if you over another threshold, then they give you a repayment plan based off of your income, right? On top of that, you have to honestly declare, and this is one of the things that Jay Morrison ran into as a problem. Jay Morrison is the dude that had wound up creating a trust fund. They said that he had filed for bankruptcy, and then they said that he lied on his bankruptcy application for a bunch of other stuff in order to discharge his debt. Now, I'm not against people filing for bankruptcy. It depends on your circumstances. Everybody got different circumstances. Whatever it is that makes it work, floats your boat. But if you get a personal lawsuit and you're trying to make sure that you remove yourself from that personal lawsuit by then filing for bankruptcy and thinking that that's just going to be the end of the story, they will go through and deep dive into your finances to figure out whether or not you are actually being honest about what it is that's going on. And so if you are out here frauding, that is something that they are going to take serious. Do not play no games. They throwing football numbers at people for wire fraud, false bankruptcy, all of that stuff. They have lied to y'all and told y'all that, oh man, white collar crimes don't use. Okay. Now the problem with this, because the other question that we have to ask ourselves is this them going after him in order to get to Tiffany Henyard because he's just a smaller player in a bigger pond? You see what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't absolve him from actually being honest about what it is that he's doing. But if you have skeletons in your closet, and let this be another lesson for y'all. If you have skeletons in your closet, you cannot stand next to somebody that has a spotlight on them. If you have skeletons in your closet, you cannot stand 10 toes down with somebody that has a spotlight on them. It is going to burn you. You need to run immediately. And I know it may seem like a hard decision to make. And a loyalty, listen, they should not have had the spotlight on them in the first place. You shouldn't have been out here frauding. You shouldn't have been getting yourself caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff. Do not put yourself in a position to have to be overly scrutinized by something that should not even involve you in the first place. You know you ain't even supposed to be out in the spotlight. And so you out here running around with them talking about this is my loyalty and all. Look, stand down. Stand down. You know this woman got everybody around her. It's been people sending me so much information on this woman that I neglected to use and I neglected to bring to the forefront. And I know she be watching, so shout out to her and shout out to her people. I don't even go at her as hard as other people. I don't go at it at all like that, to be honest with you. I kind of just stay out of the way and focus on what it is that's presented. But in a general sense, people have sent me stuff, so much information about the insides of this and her family and this person is, and I won't even present it. I never said nothing. I only keep it 100% on her, because other people I had heard had been like, man, I can't even believe I'm close to this chick. I don't want to be associated with it. I can't believe I talked to her when we was 13 and all of this other stuff. And people don't want to be, they didn't know that she was going to be out here running around talking about, I'm the people's mayor, and on social media while she got a federal investigation that's investigating her and they trying to get her up out of there. And so even me personally, I said, man, I'm not about to be putting no other people in this because this ain't got nothing to do with them. But when you stand next to or close to a person that refuse, that they just want to be Frank Lucas and they wearing the chinchilla at the fight, okay, well, everybody going down. Everybody going down.
Not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
And happening here tonight in South Holland, a special meeting called by the Thornton Township Board of Trustees. They have a number of items on the agenda looking to curtail spending that they say is being done by Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is also township supervisor. We should also mention that the township is now into its new fiscal year and still without a budget. Reporting from South Holland, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you very much. And there are more money troubles tonight for the village of Dolton. Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza has stopped what are called offset fund payments to the south suburb. She says Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration has not submitted required financial reports to her office. As a result, payments from those who owe traffic fines and parking tickets and other municipal dollars have been halted. A recent investigation found Dolton is more than $3.5 million in debt.
That's unfortunate. It's crazy to think that this woman is basically bringing down and tearing down everything, including the city, the police chief, bodyguards, anybody that was associated with her is full game. I would not want to be attached to this woman to save my life at all. And so now the trustees or whatever, they basically said that he was fired and he was removed. And then they're saying that she reappointed the police chief. And I'm assuming that she probably did it. And this is just an assumption. I'm assuming that she probably did it because she owes some level of loyalty to him because of the amount of heat that's coming on him as a result of this now fraud that came along with this bankruptcy that he filed. Everything and everybody around this woman is absolutely going down. I wouldn't want to be associated with her. I don't know how y'all was being associated with her. And I'm also questioning the people that supported her before she became mayor of Dolton in the first place, which then starts to put some of the blame and some of the spotlight on the trustees that's acting like they don't know what's going on and they didn't know who she was in the first place. But that's just me. That's neither here nor there. I told y'all we was only going to spend 10 minutes on her because I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue on with the show. Word is that they will lock up Donald Trump in September. Shout out to Resurrect. I don't know what no word is. I haven't seen anything like that. Quadash says, word on the street is that New York judge wants to throw Trump in jail in September and they already got a spot in Rikers Island for him, allegedly. Pre-Sham Talk says, can I help you go in 2025, please? Can I help you go in 2025? I don't know what that means. What's up, Miss Blyden? Says, or Akila, Kaija Blyden says, Kamala Harris' laugh makes the back of my knees itch. Henyard looks like a ghetto smurfette. Nah, that's Lil Wayne's sister. Steven Slayer 1 says, but Anton, she looked like us, so we got to vote in her. Yep, that's a perfect example. Nobody want to have that conversation. Miss Salat says, like Sahai said, get your money and get out the game. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Migrants. Let's go over to New York City. New York City. Migrants. Y'all know that. And then we're going to go over to the Starbucks CEO new pay because y'all going to want to be a part of this. Y'all going to want to know this one. Migrants over in New York City have completely taken over. There have been women and men and people, and I've been doing and seeing a lot of street interviews. Now everybody want to start to pay attention to what's happening in this migrant crisis. Hey, remember when we were basically the only ones, especially when it came to being in this space, the morning show and everything like that? We were almost the only people that was talking about the migrant crisis. And we hit it every day. And we didn't get as much visibility as we deserved. But we was talking about the migrant crisis. Now everybody during election season want to start to participate in it. Nobody was covering it. Nobody was covering it on a consistent basis if they were covering it. Everybody wanted to stay out of the way when it came to having a conversation about the migrant crisis. And we've been covering it for years. We covered it with Lori Lightfoot. We covered it with Brandon Johnson coming into office. We covered it in New York. We've been paying attention. I was telling y'all about the New York hotel, the Roosevelt Hotel. Now everybody want to descend on these places to better understand what's going on with Venezuelans and the migrant crisis and all of this stuff. And give me a break. Give me a break. I've been covering this, and make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. I'll tell you in a minute. I've been covering this, and I've been saying that I even wanted to go down to El Paso and see what's happening, and I gave Governor Greg Abbott the greatest governor accolades in the United States of America today, and not everybody want to pay attention to what's happening over there in the migrant crisis. Okay, all right, well, now that it's too late, let's see what's happening. So this is what's going on over in New York, just a small snippet of some of the things that we have been breaking it down for a long time now.
The NYPD making their presence known in Central Park. They're beefing up patrols as we see robberies and assaults on the rise.
Cash Jordan has been covering it, but Cash Jordan does not run a live stream in the morning show. But Cash Jordan lives in New York, and he has been covering it. Shout out to Cash Jordan.
The most recent incident just this morning, an 82-year-old woman was assaulted near the tennis center. And there were 2 robberies just hours apart earlier this week. Let's get out to Alice Gaynor. She's live.
If you look at her thing, you see the thing in the back? Where are we used to seeing that at? We're used to seeing that in Chicago. We're not used to seeing that anywhere else. Usually they give a map of multiple different robberies that they can corroborate, and the same group did it here and there. We're used to seeing that map, that same type of map in Chicago. We're not used to seeing that anywhere else. So now they're starting to map it out, amongst the 8 million people that live in New York. And they're saying in Central Park, look how big Central Park is. In Central Park, that the migrants is running it, and they out here robbing 80-year-olds, hitting them over the head, beating them up, taking people's money and their lunch money, and they running around in gangs as young as 11 years old.
There were 2 robberies just hours apart earlier this week. Let's get out to Alice Gaynor. She's live at Central Park right now, and Alice, police held a news conference going over their plan.
Look at all of them cops.
Christina,
they're just standing there doing nothing. Hey, what is this, a church service? Why all of them cops just standing around there chilling?
That's right. They started adding additional officers yesterday, but as you're about to hear, that didn't prevent a robbery from happening allegedly just feet away from police. The NYPD added 40 additional officers to the southern part of Central Park after a rise in major crimes there. And Francois and Zaire, both 20 years old, saw them last night.
Where we were sitting in the park was a part of their patrol on the pathway that we were on. And while we were sitting there for those 2 hours, the police cars patrolled at least, I would say, under 15 times.
Still, they were robbed.
It all happened so fast.
They say they were sitting on a bench in Central Park, editing videos just before 11 p.m., getting ready to leave.
So they was content creators. Hey, listen, I don't know if they tourists. I don't know what's going on, but let me tell you something. Never edit videos in Central Park. I'm not even from New York. Why are you sitting there on a computer editing videos in Central Park? I don't care how many police officers you see. And the migrants don't even care. Don't y'all remember when the migrants was beating up the police officers? The migrants was beating up the police officers. Yes, they did. And then they got out, and then the migrants, as they was getting out of prison, or as they was getting out of jail, with the no bail system, illegal, they was giving the middle finger up to all of the reporters that was looking at them.
When 2 suspects, who they describe as Hispanic teens, approached from behind.
He just gets close to me, and
he just like rips my chains off my neck.
He snatched the vapes out of our hands.
They say they only had to walk about 20 feet after the incident to find an officer. The NYPD chief of patrol says so far there have been 10 similar crimes recently.
This is a migrant robbery pattern.
Starting tonight, he says more resources will be into play.
From mounted to bike patrol to foot patrol to cars in the street to drones to our transit police. And if something does happen in this
Hey, do y'all, as we see these women walking with these police uniforms on, let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all feel safer now that we have women inside of the police force to help patrol? Hey, miss, hey, miss, somebody snatched my chains. Can you go and stop those migrants? You know what else? You know what else? The true cost, because they say that they allocating about $2 billion a year, according to Eric Adams, to address the migrant crisis in New York City alone, right? But that doesn't account for all of the additional resources that we have to divert into the migrant crisis, including, for example, the police officers. They have so much allocated towards chasing around these migrants in New York City. And that don't even have nothing to do with how they're funding the migrant crisis in New York City also. Have y'all thought about that? It's almost like your compensation package. You can't go, if you ask somebody, okay, well, what's your total compensation package? Your total compensation package, according to HR, is going to be completely different than what it is that you think that the compensation package is, because you think that the compensation package is going to be based off of how much money that you make. Your total compensation includes everything that it takes to keep you at the company. Healthcare coverage, pensions, 401ks, bonuses, all of those things, unemployment insurance. Your entire total compensation package is much more than whatever it is that they offer you from a pay perspective. And so it's similar when we're talking about this migrant crisis over there in New York, because the total amount of money that is taken in order to manage this thing goes into sanitation, sewage, housing, healthcare, police people having to chase these people around, resources as far as jails, judges, prisons. When you put them inside of the jails, how long do it take and how much does it cost taxpayers in order to have this thing continue to be like the total compensation of what it takes to manage this thing? And they're chasing around criminals in New York City and they got their EBT and debit cards. It's crazy.
park. It is a large park. If something does happen and we miss it, we have a full-fledged apprehension plan that will go into effect.
Francois and Zaire say drones could be a good preventative tool to use more frequently, as the mayor seemed to suggest on Tuesday. But they won't be going to Central Park anytime soon.
Stay away for a little while.
Yeah, I think we're done with parks for the meantime.
They might be boyfriends. Anyways, let's pivot over for a second and see what you actually have to deal with as far as who the culprits are that's out here robbing and stealing and killing. You see all of these guys out here on these bikes and stuff like that? They group together. They practice in group economics. They believe in identity politics too.
And police now say a young crew of migrants is largely behind the surge in crime in Central.
I'm focused today, y'all. I'm not even looking at these chicks right here. Have you seen these women? This woman is gorgeous. This woman is gorgeous out here in these streets.
Park. In fact, one of the suspects, just 11 years old. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini has been on the story all day. And Steph, we're wondering what the very latest is on this.
So new details. We just got images of.
They keep the bigger one out in the streets. They say the bigger one, you can't be an anchor. You can't cover all of the stories. You got to be out in these streets, live reporting on site. On site. The other one's got air conditioning. You got to be in the streets, baby.
Two suspects police are looking for. The NYPD says these two males are connected to this young migrant robbery pattern here in Central Park. It's alleged they targeted two 20-year-olds on Tuesday night and forcibly took 3 chains, a hat, and a vape. This developing story includes at least 10 cases here in Central Park. The suspects, all migrants, according to police. By the entrance of Central Park at 59th and 7th, a visual police presence.
It is surprising to see a lot of police. I feel like, I don't know, a police presence mostly makes me feel safe.
In this video released to Fox 5 News by the NYPD, you see a group of young males believed to be migrants allegedly on their way to commit a crime.
On their way to commit a crime. Hey, listen. You guys are prisoners in your own cities now. You guys are prisoners in your own city, in your own public park that your tax dollars pay for. They are walking around out there with the street lights on, no curfew, as young as 11 years old with bikes and chains and guns, and they terrorizing y'all in New York City. How does it feel? Hey, why we can't get the other gangs to make sure that they get some control of what's going on in the streets? That's crazy. They are patrolling Central Park and running up on people and taking their stuff.
The NYPD says a current young migrant robbery pattern is a driving force behind the increased boots on the ground here.
Until we fix this, we'll be out there.
NYPD Chief of Patrol John Schell says at least 10 cases are connected to young migrant suspects who he says are concentrating on the southern part of the park. Detectives say the suspects are working in groups of up to 12, targeting victims for whatever they can get. And they're young kids, including an 11-year-old just arrested in a different crime yesterday, connected to all this by credit cards.
When he was arrested yesterday, was on video using credit cards that were taken from the robberies in Central.
Are y'all hearing this? So let me ask y'all a question. Are y'all still voting the way that y'all voting? Because I want to let you know how they got here. See, y'all always want to talk about how do we get to the root of the problem. We need community resource officers. We need to make sure that we having people that's not having children out of wedlock. This and that, this and that, this and that. Y'all always want to talk about what's at the heart of the problem, but you never really want to get to the heart of the problem and say, okay, well, this is how we got here. This is how we planned it. And we're going to play it a little bit differently. Y'all always want to get back to the heart of the problem, but you don't want to get to the root of the problem. How did they get here in the first place? Let me say it again for the people in the back. How did they get here in the first place? Oh, you don't want to talk about that part? You don't want to talk about how the border was just open and it wasn't a big deal? And that they was just letting them in and there wasn't no problems, no trouble, no issues? None of that? How did they get here in the first place? How did they get here in the first place? I'm going to keep asking the question for the people in the back. How did they get here in the first place?
Fox 5 here yesterday watching dozens of cops converge on Central Park in response to the recent robberies. But today, not everyone seems to be aware of the increased police presence. Did you notice more cops today?
We actually didn't. I haven't noticed any. No, I just walked into the park right now.
The park is a large area. Those who work here understand the need to keep it safe. Pedicab operator Kenny Winter is on alert.
You can arrest them all you want, but if you're not going to prosecute them, what's the point?
He welcomes the police presence, but thinks more needs to be done to curb the robberies and crime overall.
He's right.
We've reported NYPD statistics show an increase in crime in the park overall, with a 200% increase in robberies specifically this year so far compared to last. These two young women are both 20, the same age as some of the recent victims we reported on as we're covering this young migrant robbery pattern.
I feel like, I don't know, a police presence mostly makes me feel safe.
And hearing that they're young people that are doing this, is that surprising to you at all?
It is, honestly. I wouldn't expect that.
Officials stressing Central Park is one of the most iconic locations in the world, and this will not be tolerated. Now, when it comes to those robbery stats, police say earlier in the year it was local robbers. The cops telling us they cleaned that problem up, and now it's this young migrant robbery pattern they're working.
Y'all better get on y'all P's and Q's. Somebody get Hassan Campbell out there to make sure that he stopped this migrant crisis. I heard that he's heavily in the New York streets out in the building. Let me read some of the super chats, and then I want to share with y'all one more thing before we get up out of here. I want to talk about the Starbucks CEO pay. We got that coming up next. Shout out to Legetta that says support. Shout out to you, big dog. I appreciate you. Ken Art is in the building, says, will Kamala citizenship be a question for president of the United States is Gavin in the batter's box. I don't think that her citizenship is in question. Wyatt says, AD, why we never see Kamala Harris bring out her family? Do you think they'll vote? The voters turned off seeing her kissing a white man and his 2 white kids. He be on the campaign trail with her. He be out there. He be at the rallies. Friend Coy says, and his friend were spending so much tea. Y'all think that they was editing videos or they was kissing in the tree? KISSING. Brian Kendrick says Elon and his mom lives in NYC and had 3 of their friends assaulted. Democrat running nation into the ground. People get off of the plantation. Please, please, Freaky Jason. Kennard says all of the major power countries are observing the feminization of America and a sassiness. Shadow Dragon TV in the building says between the rats and the coyotes alone, Central Park is not somewhere you want to be for too long. Welcome to the city of Gotham. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Central Park. Anthony Bohm is in the building says, what up, Tom? It's a vid of an NYC woman who got assaulted by a man. Lucky for her, the male cop was able to stop him. It was bad. You got to see this. Send it to me on my DMs, y'all. Duran Lee in the building says, cop looking for more and more like Laverne Hooks. Ken Art says, migrants a long-term plan like Europe funded by Khazarian mafia folks like Soros. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, last thing that we want to talk about, y'all. CEO pay. We got to get to the money. And recently I told y'all that the Starbucks CEO, the new CEO of Starbucks recently left Chipotle. So Chipotle had been turned around. Their fortunes are turned around. They're experiencing over 18% increase in sales, even though other fast food joints and places like that are absolutely reeling, right? And so the thing that I was more concerned with and that I was trying to figure out was, what are they paying this guy? Because you know how much money that you have to pay somebody to leave a position like that, that they already turned around a company and that they're ultimately trying to get you to do the same thing to Starbucks. And so the money got to be crazy. The money has to be crazy. But it's not exactly what you think. And I know there's some people that's going to be like, oh my God, that's crazy. But it's not exactly what you think. And I'm going to tell you why. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, all right?
News alert here on just how much money Brian Nichols stands to earn as CEO of Starbucks. Kate Rogers has got the details. Kate.
Hey, Melissa, that's right. We're getting a closer look at Brian Nichols' compensation plan for Starbucks via an 8K filing. So for fiscal year 2025, he'll be eligible for a base pay of $1.6 million and equity grants of up to $23 million.
Okay, let's go back. Let's get that again. I want y'all to hear it. I don't want y'all to miss that.
Base pay of $1.6 million and
CEO, base pay $1.6 million. It's not a lot of money considering executive compensation, but it is exactly what it's supposed to be because the base pay of most CEOs are not crazy excessive. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The base pay for CEOs are not the total compensation package. I want y'all to follow me along here. The base pay is not overly egregious for any CEO because they understand, unlike all of these athletes, unlike all of these rappers, unlike all of these people that want to be CEO of a company, record label, they understand that the way that they need to structure their deal when you get what you negotiate, not what you feel like you owe, you get what you negotiate, not what you feel like you deserve. The way that they structure their deals is that they want to tie their success into the success of the company. And so it works both ways. If the shareholders are successful and the company continues to grow and they run up a bag, then they then get the bag to go along with it. So the base pay is just to keep you afloat. It's the money that you allow in order to ensure that you can operate on a day-to-day basis with whatever your normal compensation is or whatever your regular lifestyle is. But that's not what they work for. They work for the bonuses and they work for the equity payouts. They work for the bonuses and the equity payouts. Let's continue.
Equity grants of up to $23 million. There is also a $10 million cash signing bonus for the position. So you're looking at up to $34 million in year one for 2025. That would also seemingly account for some equity left on the table by his leaving Chipotle, although we're not sure how much that would amount to. And then separately, there is an equity grant of up to $75 million. Now, that is a big number, but it does vest over a 3 to 4 year period and is dependent on both company performance and his tenure length for the schedule.
So, base pay 1.6. Was it 1.3 or 1.6? Total compensation $113 million, depending on how well the company do. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Base pay 1.6. Total compensation based off of how they're breaking this down. $10 million signing bonus. You can earn up to $24 million in 2025, depending on the performance of the company. So if you raise sales, and we don't know exactly what all of the details are, but if you raise sales and all of this stuff, and I'll try to find out all of the details in it, but if you raise sales and, you know, profitability and stores and all of this stuff, probably get more franchisees and expand their footprint, maybe over in Europe or something like that, then you can earn up to, in 1 year, up to $24 million total compensation based off of equity and the performance and targets, meaning that if you hit every single target, then the total compensation of this could be about $113 million. And he could be one of the highest paid CEOs in the world. But it's all dependent on the performance of the company. If the company goes absolute trash, then that means that he only gets the, $13 million total. $11 million, 11.6, which is not shabby, but 11.6 is much different than 113. But here's the beautiful part about it. So the $75 million placement equity grant is basically stock into the company, which doesn't allow for you to sell the stock, depending on what your performance is, over a period of years. Well, what does that mean? Well, it also means that you get to defer the amount of money that you got to pay in taxes. That's A. But it also, on top of that, means that your total compensation could be even more than that because the performance of the company can go greater. So you have a vested interest. This is how they incentivize CEOs to run certain companies. You got a vested interest in seeing this company be successful, and you're not there just for the pay, because in order for you to get these equity bonuses, you got to do your job, and you got to do it incredible. You got to do an incredible job. And if you do an incredible job and the shareholders are getting, people say, well, why would these companies pay so much money to these CEOs? Because everybody benefits. Because if you do great and you hit all of these price targets and you raise the valuation of the stock and you expand the store footprint and you increase sales and you reach the consumers and all of this other type of stuff, well, guess what? Me as a shareholder, I win big. And you win big too. And so that's the difference between executive compensation and compensation for regular everyday people, is that their performance or their success is tied to the success of the company. You want to get paid either way. Hey, long as my check is here every 2 weeks, whatever. No, I want mine to be directly tied to the performance of the company because I know how good I am. And I know that I'm going to turn this company around, and I know we're going to run it up, and I know I'm going to increase the stock price. That's the difference.
Just for context, at Chipotle last year per filings, he made just over $22.4 million, and his base pay was a little lower, I believe around $1.3 million. In a statement, Starbucks said, quote, Brian Niccol has proven himself to be one of the most effective leaders in our industry, generating significant financial returns over many years. His compensation at Starbucks is tied directly to the company's performance and the shared success of all of our stakeholders. We're confident in his ability to deliver long-term, enduring value for our partners, customers, and shareholders.
So let me also add this in there too. Part of his negotiation, and this is why it pays to be in a position of power when you then get a position or, you're being offered something. When you're operating in a position of power, you can basically bend the company to your will.
Starbucks is letting its incoming CEO essentially work from home. It's one thing if you're running a tech company, you've got a lot of software programmers working from home themselves, but this is Starbucks, so I was kind of shocked.
So interestingly, he's not relocating from California, but he will be working out of Seattle. So part of it is going to be commuting regularly. But the terms are kind of unclear. I don't know how often he's going to be in Seattle, even though that they're saying that will be his main office.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently he will be commuting to Seattle and travel as needed. That as needed leaves a lot to the imagination. As you said, we don't have the details yet. That's an awful lot of flexibilities that we know most companies aren't offering to their rank and file employees.
Absolutely. And I think it shows how much Starbucks really wanted to get Nickel to join the company. I think it was one of a couple of concessions they made. And interestingly, when he joined Chipotle, Chipotle was willing to relocate the entire company headquarters for him to California from Denver. So I think it's just one of those aspects. If you're that desirable, you can kind of make whatever arrangement you want.
When you the man and you the person that's at the helm and you get into the bag and you that dog and you actually can deliver results and you got a track record of delivering results, they will relocate the entire headquarters for you. I've never in my life actually heard of a CEO of a company being able to work from home. Never in my life have I ever heard of a CEO being able to work from home. But basically he said, listen, I'm not uprooting my family. I'm not going nowhere. And because y'all want me, because y'all came calling me, not only am I going to negotiate this pay package to be excessive and crazy, but I'm also going to make sure that I stay working from where I work at. And then make sure that you get me the private jet to be able to travel where it is that I need to travel to in order to take care of business when it's convenient. I ain't tripping off of them. I ain't hating that at all. And then people will sit there and tell you, and this is the biggest thing that I want to emphasize in this, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. People will sit here and tell you, start your own company. And that's cool too. I ain't tripping off that. It don't pay to work in corporate America. I'm not telling you that you can wind up becoming him and wind up becoming the CEO of a Chipotle and then parlaying it over there to Starbucks. But what I am telling you is that most people that say that type of stuff, they have no clue what they're talking about. They have no clue the amount of money that's available in the C-suite or when you work up and you get these equity bonuses. They have no clue the amount of money that some of these people are making. And because they operate out of ignorance, it's so easy for them to finesse you and tell you to go out and do some dumb stuff. I'm telling you that there's money everywhere. There's money everywhere. It's all around you. It's money in corporate, it's money in businesses, it's money in everything. And so the thing that you have to realize, and this is what we stand on here on the Millionaire Morning Show. When people ask me what are bag chasers? I say that bag chasers are people that's ultimately chasing the best thing for them, understanding that the money comes along with it. But more importantly, you have to understand where it comes back down to the money, and that's what we stand on the Millionaire Morning Show. I love you. I appreciate you. I think that you guys are the greatest on earth. Let me read some of these this last super chat, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here because it's Friday. We got after hours tonight. Tyrone Dub says, 80 to Simpson, the Democrats need to realize that in order for shaming to work, we would have to give an F. We would have to give an F, and I'm all out of Fs to give Trump 2024. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. Thank you to everybody that support me on the platform. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Another great week in the books. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Make sure you tap in with After Hours tonight. It should be fun. And then last but not least, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. That link is in the description. Make sure you send this to your family, friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Another great week in the books. And we back at it tonight as well as tomorrow morning. It's going to be awesome. I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.